Hello and welcome to the show. Today I want to just talk about some first impressions. Shooting a weekend in Florida with the Canon SureShot Multi-Tele. This thing looks right this way. No, it doesn't. Upside down. Something like that. Anyway, to just give a brief overview of this Canon SureShot, it's a half-frame camera with a two kind of focus lens, so you can be a 35 at 3.5 or 35 at 3.5 and 60 at 5.6. Going into half frame, it actually has these masks that go over the frame, and it does change the focal length. So the 35 3.5 turns into a 50 3.5. And I hadn't shot in half frame, but figured I wanted to try it. A good buddy reached out to me and was like, hey, found this camera. I have a couple of half frame cameras and figured you might want to get into this. And he was right. I was kind of on this line, like I was thinking I was going to go after a Samurai or something, something on Goodwill, see if I could try to find it for cheap. The Samurai is really big and you have to store it, so to have a buddy just be like, hey, I have one, are you interested in checking it out, sort of thing. That really matters, and that's why I love Instagram. That's why I love the film community, and I just appreciate people talking and having those conversations. So a couple of my initial first thoughts. I really loved it. I really love shooting in Florida with it. I didn't have much time to like go out and snap pictures. A lot of my time I was in a car or just kind of hanging out. And it was honestly the first time I've ever brought just one camera and some film just to kind of see what happens. Yeah, so all it is inside, I obviously have some film still loaded, so it's just a little switch that moves the doors over the full frame, which is kind of cool that you can just turn it into a normal SureShot. I dig that. Haven't seen any photos from it yet, so a little scared about that. It is loud. The shutter's really loud. It kind of reminds me of my like EOS 650, and I should also mention, so this thing has like some drawbacks, but I really love it because that's just kind of something I tend to shoot anyway. It does use the, I can never remember the name of this battery, the 2CR5. I have a couple of these lying around for my Yashicas and my other Canon film SLRs. So it doesn't bug me too much having those batteries. I totally left the camera on when I was traveling because I was like shooting stuff in the airport. I was terrified when I got to Florida, but the battery lasted the entire weekend, and I still, have juice. The wild thing for me is it's got this little counter on the back, and it counts all the way up to, 72 or beyond. It's really weird seeing it count that high. It's also really hard to get through a roll. I have a hard time sometimes even getting through 24. I do try to shoot some of that grocery store stuff because it just helps me go, get a roll done. I've done a project, I feel good about it, and I can move on to the next thing. I just compartmentalize it a little better. 36 can be a little bit of a challenge for me. Getting through 72 was a lot, so I'm kind of excited to try the 48, taking a roll of 24 like Gold or Superior and popping it through this. The battery door is garbage. I've seen that on a lot of these. This one's pretty much completely fallen apart, so what I do is I usually just put some gaffer tape on it, and then I actually put a good amount of extra gaffer tape in case I need to take it out or just refiddle anything. It's also good for notes, so if I realize like I'm shooting some Kodak or something, I'll be like, watch out for primary colors because they're amazing and they're your favorite for going and doing that stuff. I added a strap from my Leica Z2X. It came with a longer one, but I just kind of needed a wrist strap because this was mostly in my pocket, and I didn't really care if I dropped it anyway. Loved the shutter. It's got that kind of EOS, maybe like 650 sound. It is loud and electronic, but I kind of like that. You're not going to be a street photographer with this. It's obvious that you're taking a photo, maybe a little bit too obvious. The other thing that I thought was just completely brutal was when I killed the roll and it started rewinding. It took forever, and it was noisy as all get out, and I did it in the car with some family, and it was just like, I'm that guy. I was trying not to be too camera crazy. you are not discreet when that happens. So shutter felt good. On half press, it like clicks really loud because you don't actually ever move the lens cover. You can like physically move it with your finger, which is kind of all right. But it takes the photo and just moves that away and then pops the lens out at the 2 different focal lengths. There are a couple of buttons. One is, just, rewinding your roll. There is a self timer. There's one in the middle. I guess I haven't looked at what that is. There's also a bulb mode. I did use that a lot on this trip because I just didn't want to use the flash. I'm hoping my stuff's not too shaky. It might be. We'll see. And then there is the force on flash. I'm not a huge flash point and shoot type of photographer. I know a lot of people are. Not necessarily my jam, but I understand and appreciate why people use it. On the back, all the controls are setting it to the wide and the telephoto. So half press gets you a click because I think it has to figure out something and figure out where the lens is, and then full press gets you a full ka-chunk type of shutter sound. Viewfinder I thought was a little bit abysmal too. I switched too many of these point and shoots, so I can never remember where it is, and then half the time I'm like putting a sticker to my face or the switch, and it's just a little small on this one. Where I'm rating this one though, like out of all this, I would love to shoot this as much as I can. I like the sound. The sound doesn't tend to bug me. The half frame I think is gonna be really interesting. The shots my buddy sent me looked pretty interesting and looked really sharp, and I'm excited to just shoot a lot of black and white with it. I think that's like where I'm most excited. And other than that, yeah, this one's gonna go around with me a lot. I really enjoy it. It feels good in my hand. I've talked to some of my friends, and it's kind of a little stickler point in my Instagram. These smaller cameras, like for example this like little pop, they're tiny in my pretty big basketball hands, and any little adjustment makes my framing just a little bit off. And some of these bigger cameras, I don't know that everyone necessarily sees the appeal, but you literally get a bar on what is level for you, and I kind of appreciate that. And I think like the T4 users out there probably understand where I'm coming from with that. Good comfy grip. I can shoot with this all day and not feel crabby about it. Where I'm at with the multi-tele, staying in my bag. Hope this was interesting. I'll link my Coffee account below. Hoping to make more of these videos. I want to show results and like show you where I'm shooting and all of that. Just hoping to get this channel going again because it's more interesting and more exciting to me personally than Instagram right now. Feels like a black hole. Would love some conversation. If you've shot with this camera, enjoy it, hate it, all these things, just let me know what you think, and subscribe, tell your friend, share this with a buddy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much.